Hey, 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 it's your girl Talia, and I'm ready for you to invade my space. Welcome to Talia's Space, y'all. Welcome to the Look Good, Feel Good, Be Good podcast, where we gonna talk about everything. You hear me? We gonna laugh, we gonna cry, and most of all, we gonna love on each other, y'all. Let's talk. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are excited like I am. It's time for Talia Space, y'all. Welcome to the Look Good, Feel Good, Be Good podcast on tonight. Okay. I want to make sure that my audience is looking good, feeling good, and being good. I want you to know that this is your season to win. Okay. I don't care what you're going through. This is your season to dominate. All right. You're gonna dominate all year round. It don't matter what's going on. This is your season to win. Okay. And then as Jacqueline Carr says, and everything attached to you is gonna win just because it's attached to you. Okay. So I want you guys to go ahead, go get your juice, go get your water, go get your wine, go get your Kool-Aid, go get your tea. Cause we about to talk down tonight, y'all. Okay. As you see, I'm sitting on a bean bag. I wanted to be comfortable to you guys because the conversation tonight may be a little heavy, may get a little uncomfortable, but we gonna be comfortable, all right, at least in our environment gonna look a little cozy. But what we gonna talk about tonight, it may hit, okay, it may hit a little hard, it may hit your heart, it may pierce your heart and your mind, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, because if I'm not piercing your heart and your mind, if I'm not putting something on your mind, then I'm not doing my job. Okay. This is not the normal podcast where I'm doing things out of the norm and I'm doing things to make you feel good, or I'm saying things that are unnecessary, or I'm being ratchet or whatever. That ratchet and cussing, that's not going to get you nowhere. I want to talk to you about things that's going to penetrate your heart and your mind and hopefully cause a change to come about. Okay? That's what I want to do. So I know on the last podcast we talked about depression, okay? And I want to do a part 2. Y'all know the last manifestation I did part 3, but I don't know if I'm going to do a part 3 on this, but I definitely want to do a part 2. Um and on this one, on this particular podcast, I wanted to title it I'm about to lose my mind. Have anybody ever said that I'm about to lose my mind? There's so much going on. There's so much happening in my life. There's so much happening outside of my life that I don't think I can handle it. I'm about to lose it. Have you ever said that? I know I have. I don't know about y'all, but I know I have on several occasions. I have said, I'm about to lose my mind. I can't take it. I can't deal with it any longer. And this is about to take me under. This is about to kill me mentally and physically. It's about to take me out of here. That I wanted to speak to you on today because the mind, I'm telling you, the enemy targets our mind, because if he can target your mind, if he can get your mind, then everything else is a go. He don't need anything else. All he need is permission to enter into your mind, because once he starts speaking to you and once he started feeding that seed and it starts to grow and he starts watering it, once he starts doing that, once you give him permission to enter and to water that seed, it begins to grow, and then it begins to grow into a tree. You know how hard it is to chop down a tree that have grown. Let me tell y'all something. We had a pool in our backyard. Okay, we went and we dug this pool up because we didn't want it anymore. There was no use for it. It was costing too much to get it fixed and all that stuff. So we just decided to, you know, uproot the pool. We uprooted this pool, took everything out, and all of a sudden a tree started growing out of the pool in the middle of the where the pool was. A tree started to form, and I'm not talking about a little tree. I'm talking about a big tall tree with a big thick trunk. It started to grow, and then it was so huge. I had my sons to go out there and to try to cut it down. They were out there all day trying to cut down this tree that had grew in the backyard. We didn't even notice it. We didn't notice the tree being little, because maybe if we noticed that the tree was little, if we noticed that it was growing and it was small, we could have then, grabbed it by the root and kind of, yanked it out of there or something. But we didn't even know that it was growing. And that's how the enemy gets us. He starts speaking to us and we don't even know, because it be the smallest thing. We don't even identify that the enemy has came and started speaking little stuff into our minds and into our hearts. And so we don't even recognize that it's the smallest little thing, it's the smallest little seed that he has planted that has now started to form into a tree. And then we know that when we see trees, we start seeing branches, which means that now this one little thing has become several things that we are not able to handle. Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy how a little seed becomes something so big that we cannot tame? We could not tame that tree for nothing in the world. Y'all, is still back there. We got to call somebody to come and chop it down, because that's how thick it is. I don't want my sons to be back there and hurt themselves. That's how big and thick this tree is. And that's how big and thick this depression is that you're going through. And it started out as a seed. It started out as a little bitty thing. It could have been someone saying something, whispering into your ear, saying that you're not enough, saying that you would never become anything. It could have been that. It could have been someone that told you that you wasn't beautiful, that you weren't pretty, that your hair is this and that. It could have been the smallest little seed that was planted, and it started to grow. And now every time somebody says that you're beautiful, you don't believe it, because of the seed that was planted that told you when you was a little girl that you wasn't. And now you have a complex about yourself. And now every time you look at yourself, you're depressed because of something that somebody said, of something that somebody planted. The enemy came and planted this seed. And then he uses his little imps to come in and start to water that seed. Now you having these negative people come in and they're watering on top of everything else. They're coming, they watering the seed and it's growing. Then somebody else, they come and they water the seed and it's growing. So now you have this huge tree with all these different branches and you don't even know where to start. You don't know where to start chopping down all of the things, all of the abuse, all of the negative sayings, all of the comments, all of the rejection and the abandonment. You don't even know where to start cutting this stuff down from this tree. He wants to get into your mind, and once he have access, once you give him permission, because you have to give people, you have to give the enemy permission to come in. He can't come in unless you give him permission to do so. So once you give him the okay to come in, the first thing that he targets, he don't target anything else. The first thing that he targets is your mind. I have a organization for young ladies, And one of my motto is, if I can target your mind, if I can get into your mind, I can change everything else. You just have to let me in your mind. You just have to let me start speaking into your mind. And that's the same way that the enemy works. He just wants to have access to your mind, to start controlling the way that you think and the way that you speak and the way that you carry yourself. All he needs is a little permission. All he needs is a little access. All he needs is to plant a little seed. That's it. All he needs is a little seed to plant. And once that happens, he got everything else. Our mind is so powerful. That's why he wants it. It is so powerful because once it get into your mind, you know how the brain works. The brain operates everything. It operates the way that you walk. It operates. It controls the way that you talk. It controls the way that you move your hands. It sends signals to your body. The mind is a powerful thing. So that's why he wants to get to the center, to get to the center of the issue, and that is your mind. You have to protect your mind at all costs. You cannot afford to let negative people enter into your mind. You cannot afford to let anybody who's not on the same page as you, or anybody that is not speaking positive into you. You cannot allow people, you cannot allow the enemy to gain access to your mind, to let them start controlling you, and to let them start feeding and watering the seed inside of you. That seed, that depression is a seed. Depression is a seed that starts to grow. And once it grow, it have all of these branches. Y'all want to know what the branches are? The branches are anxiety. The branches are panic attacks. The branches are sickness and disease. That's if you don't believe me, I'm telling you, depression causes so many things, causes so many illnesses. It causes headaches, and it strains your health. I promise you, I know what I'm talking about because I've been through it. It alters your behavior. So now you got all these branches out here that stemmed from one little seed called depression. And you're wondering why you're about to lose your mind. It's because you have let someone come in, and you have given them access to you. Someone that shouldn't have had access to you, something that shouldn't have had access to you. We give power to the wrong thing. We give people access that they shouldn't even have. And then wonder what's causing us to become depressed. I had to go back and really think about where my depression has stemmed from. When you're depressed, what happens? You start thinking about stuff. It's here. You start thinking about things. You start thinking about what happened to you when you was a child. You start thinking about who did stuff to you when you was a teenager. You start thinking about who abandoned you. You start thinking about who rejected you. You start thinking about your bills and your finances. You start thinking about your marriage. You start thinking about your children who are misbehaving. You start thinking about this stuff. And then depression starts to form because of where your mind takes you. Your mind will take you on a journey. It will take you on a ride. I'm telling you. That's why when I told you in manifestation, I had to start quickly speaking to my mind, because once I started thinking about things that started happening to me when I was a child, when I started thinking about that, I said, you know what, but you made it out. You know what, but you're not that child anymore. You know what, you are a testimony to somebody else about how you got through it. I'm telling you, you have to start counteracting this stuff, because depression will seep in. If you sit there and you become idle, you remember my last one? I said, do not isolate yourself, because isolation causes you to start thinking about things that are not in your control. Isolation gets you, that's where the enemy wants. He wants to get you isolated so you can start thinking about all the things that are going wrong in your life and not about the things that are going right. We take the little things for granted. I know you say, well, you don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand what my mind, goes through on a daily basis. You're not there when I'm crying on my pillow at night. I understand, because I felt the same way. Don't come telling me about something that you haven't been through. I can't tell you if I haven't been through it. So I'm telling you, this is how I overcame depression. This is how do you get a tree up out of your yard? How do you get that tree down where it won't grow anymore? You have to get it from the root. You have to get it from the root. You have to destroy depression from the root. You have to cut it down at the root. Because if not, if you just chop it down, then somebody can come back and start watering that. And it begins to grow again. New things start to grow. You have to get it all the way up. You have to get it all the way from the root and destroy it at the root. Snatch it out at the root. Because once you destroy it at the root, all of the branches come down with it. It dies with it. Once you destroy depression, you don't have to worry about anxiety. You don't have to worry about panic attacks. You don't have to worry about crying all night and nobody sees you. You don't have to worry about that. Once you begin to focus on the root of your depression. I'm seeing so many people dying at the hand of depression. And then we're surprised. I'm telling you, it starts in the mind. The mind is powerful. I can't tell you how many times I had to get myself together and say, no, that's not what we're doing. We're not thinking about that. Think on these things that are lovely, that are wise, that are beautiful. I know it's hard to do at times. I know it's hard to counteract what you're thinking about, but if you just take the time out and try it, even if you can't think of anything, write it down. Write down positive things that as soon as your mind begin to wander, you go ahead and you start speaking to your mind quickly, immediately, so those things can start turning around. Depression is hovering over us so bad. It's taking us out. It's killing us. And we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about it enough. We see people and we feel like, well, that's how they are. They're emotional. We see our kids and we don't pay it any attention. We say they're being dramatic. But what if they're not? What if the enemy is really speaking to their mind and they don't have the power to fight against the enemy's attack? They don't have the power to stop their mind from going there, from going to these negative things, from going into this dark place. Then we have to watch what we let have access to us. Some of the things that we watch on television, some of the things that we're listening to, some of the music that we're listening to, some of the things that we allow to have access to us can trigger us into depression. How are you starting your day? How are you ending your night? Are you speaking positive to yourself? I always tell my daughters, if it's something that you can control, if it's something that you can change, then change it. And if it's not, if it's something that you have no control over it, then don't worry about it. Give it to God. If it's too big for you to handle, then maybe that's when you need to bring somebody else in. We try to do everything on our own. I know because I've done it. We try to do everything on our own and try to handle it on our own because we think that we're a burden on people. We think that nobody wants to listen to what we're saying. We think that people feel like we're dramatic, or people feel like that what we're saying is not important. But I'm telling you, if you can find that one person that can hear you out and maybe give you a solution, or maybe give you other avenues. Stop being so closed off. Depression makes you closed off. And that's what the enemy wants. He wants to talk to your mind. He wants to get inside of your heart. And the only way that he have access to your heart is when you give him your mind. He wants to form a relationship with you. He wants you to be in a relationship with depression. Some of us are in a relationship with depression. We sleep with depression. We're intimate with depression. We wake up with depression. We shop with depression. We ride around with depression. We are in a whole full-blown relationship with depression. How do we get out of it? How do we overcome it? By chopping that tree down at the root. What started it? What triggered you? I'm telling you, I told you on the last podcast, find a therapist. And if you can't find one, if you say, well, I can't afford a therapist, there are other avenues out here, because depression and your mental stability is so important. I'm telling you, there are other avenues out here where they're making it free for you to be able to go to a counselor, where you're able to go out and talk to somebody and get this weight, get this load up off of you. Stop being isolated. Stop being by yourself. Get with a team. Get with a group of people that speak life into you and not death. Speak life into your own self. I was in a really, really bad place. And it took everything in me to tell my husband that I was not happy. I was not a happy person. I was not a happy wife. I was not a happy mother. I was not happy. I told him I need help. That took everything in me. That took a lot of courage to say, I need help. I'm about to lose my mind. I need help. I'm telling you, you cannot lose your mind this season because that's what the devil wants. That's what the enemy wants. He wants you to lose your mind because if you lose your mind, there is no your purpose that you supposed to have been on this earth for. You cannot perform it. You cannot perform your purpose if you're not sane. Have you ever seen a person who's not mentally stable fulfill their purpose on earth? No. You say they lost their mind after this. They lost their mind after the death of their parents. They lost their mind after their children did this. They lost their mind after they lost their job. They lost their mind after they lost their home. They lost their mind after their finances went through. They lost their you start saying they are not the same after that happened. You cannot fulfill your purpose if you're unstable. You cannot help anybody come out of anything if you're unstable. The Bible says God have not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. You got to have a sound mind to get through this year. This is just the second month, and you're already having mind battles. The devil is already targeting your mind. The enemy already have your mind discombobulated. You haven't even gotten to December yet. What's going to happen in the middle of the year? Are you going to let the enemy control your mind? How much longer are you going to let this happen to you? How much longer are you going to settle for depression? How much longer are you going to be in bed with depression? Are you going to sleep with depression? Are you going to be intimate with depression? Are you going to marry depression? It's time for you to divorce depression. That's what I want you to do. That's your homework. I want you to write out a divorce decree for depression. Put it all out there in the open. Let depression know what it can't have. Break up with the spirit of depression. Break up with the spirit of depression. And once you go back, once you done, once you break up, you know how we say, "Oh, I don't go back to exes. I don't backtrack to exes." If you are ex, you are ex for a reason. So once you go there, once you have X out depression, once you have broken up with depression, don't backtrack. Don't go back and pick it up. We're not picking up X's in the year of 2024. Depression is an X. Instability is an X. Panic attacks is an X. Anxiety is an X. Do not go back and pick it up. Do not go back and have a relationship with these things. We don't backtrack. We're moving forward for the next thing in our life, for the next good thing in our life. You know, once you break up with somebody, then you start looking for the next person to come in because you know this person is going to be better than the last. So once you have divorced depression, once you have made depression your ex, it's time for you to start looking for life. Okay? It's time for you to start looking for happiness. It's time for you to be in a relationship with joy. It's time for you to make depression jealous because of the new relationship that you're in. Oh, you can't get me now because I'm in a relationship. I'm in a good relationship with happiness. I'm in a good relationship with joy. I'm in a good relationship with peace. I can't backtrack. I got to move forward. I got to live life. Life is happening. I got to focus on things that are good, things that are lovely. Read your Bible. I'm telling you. This is not the year for the devil to have your mind in captivity. This is not the year for him to hold your mind hostage. This is not the year for him to have your mind in captivity. We about to do a prison break. Do you hear me? I'm about to break your mind out of prison. I got the key to unlock the door. You won't be depressed this year. You won't be sad this year. You got things to do. There's a purpose for your life. That's why the devil is hitting you so hard. That's why the enemy is hitting you so hard, because there is a purpose for you on this earth. You got things to do. You got people to help. And he wants to get you and sift you as wheat. But I'm saying that it's not so. We're doing a prison break today. We're going to break your mind out of prison, out of captivity. You about to be in a new relationship with joy and peace and happiness. You about to live your best life. There is no way I'm going to let my viewers or anybody else that surrounds themselves with me go down with a spirit of depression. We got to overcome this thing this year. We can't keep slipping back. We can't keep going back and easing back to our ex. This time when we break up, it's for real. I'm not coming back. You know how you have those exes that knows that you're coming back? She said that she ain't leaving, but I know I got her wrapped around my finger, so she'll be back. No, we're not coming back this year. We're going for real this time. I'm in a real relationship this time. I'm in a good relationship this time. You're not going to come in and break up my relationship with happiness and peace. I'm not even going to look your way. I'm not even going to flirt with depression. I'm not even going to flirt with you. Because if I flirt with you, then you think that you have access to me and you don't. If I flirt with you, you think that I'm coming back and I'm not. If I flirt with you, you think that you still have access to me and you don't. You think that you can still ease back into what we had going on, and you can't. My relationship with you has come to an end. This time, right now, this year, this day, we have broken up with depression, and we will never be back in a relationship with it ever again. This is our comeback season. This is our comeback year. This is our year of more. This is our year to dominate. You can't dominate going backwards. You can't dominate by going back to your ex. It's time to form new relationships. happiness, peace, excitement, joy, love. It's time for some new relationships. I don't know about you, but I'm excited because I have broken up with depression and I don't go back to exes. So this is your last year, your last season with me. Depression have no room here. Lose my phone number, lose my address. I don't need you to send me anything. I don't need you to send me any notes. I don't need you to tell me that you miss me because I'm not coming back. Listen, I love you guys and I love these podcasts. This one right here has been my favorite by far because I'm telling you, divorce, depression in the relationship. Write it a letter saying I can know. You know how you text. You know they say texting is crazy. You shouldn't text somebody and break up with them. Text depression. Put it in your phone. Write it down in a notebook and seal it up. Burn it up. Throw it away. Because you would not go back to it. Tell depression all the things, all the ways that it have hurt you. You know how you do with an ex-boyfriend? This is why we can't be together. Because you did this to me. Because you hurt me. Because you isolated me. Because you took me away from my family. Because you took me away from my children. Because you took me away from my marriage. Because you took me away from myself. I didn't know who I was when I was with you. Write it down. Put it in your divorce decree. Divorce depression today. And I promise you, once you get into that new relationship with happiness and joy and peace, depression will be far from your mind. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Look Good, Feel Good, Be Good podcast. And I have to let you guys know that break up with depression is no longer there because it's not going to make you look good. It's not going to make you feel good. And it's not going to make you be good. Okay. If you guys have enjoyed tonight's podcast, I want you to go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. Okay. I want you guys to go ahead and do that because I love you guys and I love all my viewers that are already on here. I love you guys and I thank you guys for watching every single time that I drop an episode. I love you guys and I hope you have a great night. Kiss depression. Goodbye. Divorce it. Say goodbye.